Hey everyone, welcome back again. I'm here to do another tier list. So today we're doing another of my favorite directors, one of the three amigos, Guillermo del Toro. So probably the most famous, Mexican director around, as well as Alejandro G. Iñárritu and Alfonso Cuarón. But yeah, this guy has a pretty great filmography, a lot of dark fantasy, horror, monster movie type stuff. If you've seen any interviews with him or anything, you know he's right into that, and you can tell by his filmography that he loves that kind of stuff, that dark, supernatural, element to pretty much all of his films. Um, so I've got all of them here ready to rank in a randomized order. So we'll start at the front with The Devil's Backbone. So this movie, it was pretty good. I didn't love it like a lot of people seem to. Um, But yeah, it's probably a B tier film for me. I did like it. It definitely has his style all over it, and it's one of his Spanish language films. And it was pretty good. It was like a ghost story, and that set in an orphanage. Um, yeah, it wasn't quite great though for me, in my opinion. I know a lot of people really love this movie, but I thought it was good, but not great. So probably a B tier, to be honest. Um, Pacific Rim is next. So this one is probably the only film that I outright just don't like from Del Toro. It just feels like a big CGI fest, like a Marvel kind of movie almost. Like it's just robots fighting monsters, and some people love it, but personally, I just wasn't really a fan of it that much. Like it looked cool, had some cool action, but like it was very forgettable for me personally. It's not an F film, but to be honest, it's probably closer to E for me. Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. But everything else he's made, I like. But that's the only film that I'm not really on board with as far as Del Toro's movies go so far. Mimic is next. This is one most people would probably put in the E or F tier, but to be honest, it's kind of like a guilty pleasure film for me. I do enjoy it, and it might hurt a lot of people to see me put this on the same list or same tier even as The Devil's Backbone, but to be honest, I do like this movie. I think there's a lot of fun to be had with it. I've got the director's cut on Blu-ray even, and haven't seen the theatrical, but I do like the director's cut. I think it's pretty decent. Um, so I would recommend the movie to be honest. Like, don't expect some big epic masterpiece, but it's decent. I thought it was fun. Um, Hellboy 2. Maybe we'll do the first one first. This movie's good. Um, Not as good as its sequel, but it's like a fun kind of just monster action superhero film, like a Del Toro version of a superhero film. It's probably a B, to be honest, as well, probably in the same category for me. And the second one I preferred. I think it was better. But I'd probably also make it a B, but a high B. I thought they kind of built on what the first film did a bit more. They added more story, more characters, more world building, and it looked better as well. It had some great visuals in it. Yeah, so it'd probably be a high B for me. Um, Next up, we have The Shape of Water. This is one of his big blockbuster movies that won like the Academy Award for Best Film in 2017. And yeah, I really like it. I think it's a great movie. It's probably an S tier film for me. It's just a very original and fun monster movie as well as a romantic kind of drama. Um, the monster looks incredible. The visuals are great. The soundtrack's great. Michael Shannon is a fantastic villain. Like he always gives a great performance, but he's really solid here. Um, yeah, I really enjoy the movie. I think it's quite creative and fun, and it really shows off Del Toro's imagination and his visual flair. Next up, we have Pinocchio. This is the most recent film of his. It just come out in like December, I think. And I think it won the Academy Award for the Best Animated Film just the other week. And I was really hoping that it would because it's definitely the best animated film to come out last year. And I love stop motion animation as well. And it just seems like a natural fit for Del Toro to do a stop motion animated movie like in the vein of, Tim Burton's or something like that. So it's definitely an A tier film. It's really, really good. Highly recommended. It's not like a kids movie, and I think Del Toro really wanted to show that animation isn't just for kids in this film. Like it can be for adults as well. and that's great because I love animated films and hand-drawn animation, anime, and things like that. So it was really cool to see a mainstream kind of film and director go in that direction, and it looks great. Like it's seamless. The animation is perfect and so detailed, um, and it's just a unique take on the Pinocchio story. Um, like if you've seen Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio that came out the same like last year as well, that was pretty generic, pretty much run-of-the-mill Disney live action nowadays. So this was really great instead of that one. Nightmare Alley is also a recent film. It came out in 2021, I think. And it's another one I'd probably put in the B tier. I did enjoy it. I think it was a bit overlong though. Like visually, it's incredible. Great performances, some really great intense sequences throughout, but it was just a bit too long and drawn out in some aspects where it got a bit boring at times. But overall, it's a pretty good movie. Um, I think if they had have cut things out or trimmed it up, made it a bit neater, it could have easily been an A tier film, but it's probably B at the moment. Um, yeah. So Pan's Labyrinth, this is an obvious S tier film. This is like one of the best films, fantasy films ever made. It blends fantasy and war and drama in real life so like seamlessly, and I think that's why the film works so well. It's a very original story. It's easily Del Toro's best work. I think like 99% of people would agree with that. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's not much you can say that sort of hasn't been said about it already. Like it looks incredible. It has great performances. The villain is just this really evil guy. Like you just want him to die. But it's yeah, such a good movie. Highly recommend it. Great soundtrack as well. Um, so next up we have Blade 2. This is one of the lesser films in my opinion. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great though. It's probably a C tier, I reckon. It's the only Blade film I've seen. I haven't seen the first or third one, but I did enjoy the second one a little. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't great. But I liked the vampire elements to it that Del Toro added. You could see his flair was throughout the film, but it did feel a bit like a generic kind of early 2000s superhero mashup film to me, with horror elements into it. But I think it's good enough, sorry, to put in C tier. Um, yeah. So next up we have Crimson Peak. This is a film that I like loved when I first saw it. But after rewatching it a few times, it doesn't really hold up as well. Like visually, it's all there. It's incredible visually, up there with Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water. But I think it's a little boring now, and it's probably B tier to be honest. It has some like the last half hour is fantastic, and there's some great scenes throughout the film, some great visuals, some great music, but it's just a bit boring leading up to that ending. And a lot of people were expecting a straight up horror film, whereas it's more of a gothic romance film, which is fine. But yeah, it just kind of left people hanging a lot until the end of the movie. So last up, we have Kronos, which was his very first film from the early 90s, I think, or mid 90s. This was actually pretty decent. I enjoyed this movie. Again, not great, but it was good. It was creative. It was original and fun, and you could definitely see, even being his first film, straight from the get-go, that his creative style was all over it. And I enjoyed that about it. And it was a very small scale kind of film for Spanish language as well, I think. So like The Devil's Backbone and Pan's Labyrinth, but it was good. Good enough for a B, I reckon. I'll put it in there. So that's all his films so far. As you can see, he's a bit all over the board with me. But yeah, really loved Pan's Labyrinth and The Shape of Water and Pinocchio. Also, all the B tier films are pretty decent. I like all of them. But as far as Blade 2 and Pacific Rim go, yeah, I'm a bit on the fence with them. So yeah, but check them out, guys, if you haven't seen any of them, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.